Welcome back to Conversation with Buddy. I'm your host, Buddy Puckett. Hey, we're here today on a Friday morning. It's always good to be here. I got a question for you. Are you living out the purpose that God has for your life? As I was driving here this morning, I see a homeless guy, and there's a few homeless people in Salem. I was thinking, as I watch this guy walk across the street, is he living out the purpose that God has for his life? And really the question is, am I living out my purpose, and are you living out your purpose? So today, we're going to talk about purpose. I have a returning guest. He's a young man. He's a friend, and he inspires me, to be honest with you. So I can't wait to introduce you to Fausto Ramos. Welcome, Fausto.
Hey, thanks for having me, buddy.
Yeah, well, dude, thanks for being back and being willing to come back and share more. So
absolutely. There's always something new going on, and I think it's almost been a year. Maybe it might be a little bit over a year since I've been on.
It might be more than a year.
Yeah.
A lot's happened in your life in the last year.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'd say probably the last 2 years have been from the biggest change in my overall adult life. I think like 26 plus. I'm 34 now. So like in my adult life in the last 2 years, they're like just the most change has happened for me.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna dive in. For the audience that that didn't listen to your first podcast, I'm going to recommend you go back and actually listen to Fausto's first one, so you actually have some context about what we talk about today. It's good. It's really deep. We're going to pick up where we left off last time and really see where Fausto's been in the last year or so. I can't remember if it's been a year, but I see Fausto all the time, so I don't always get to see all the progress, but there's definitely been some progress, and we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about your purpose and your legacy and just how God's working in your life. Since the last time we spoke on here, you did, so Food for Thought, we do it every month here at The Rec.
Yeah.
And 2 months ago, you did, it was September?
I think so. Yeah, I think it was September.
No, it was August. Because
yeah.
September was someone else, Shaney
Star, yeah.
Shaney Star.
Yeah.
So I came to your, I would call it a keynote speech. You're really good, by the way.
Thank you.
You have a natural gift for speaking. You have the audience listening, and just your cadence. Have you taken like communication lessons or something? Seriously?
I haven't. No, I haven't done any communications like classes or like seminars or anything like that. I think I learned more about talking from kind of witnessing other people do it. Bruce Stefanik, pastor at Church on the Hill.
Yeah.
Kind of watched him in more like his body language, how he talked to people.
He's good.
Eye contact, body language, like a standing upright. And then my old from Planet Fitness, Tanner Halton, he was the owner there. And he was the same way, kind of anybody he talked to really professionally and like kind of upright, head, chin is up. And he's like talking directly to them, smile on his face, eyes are wide open. And he's just he's fully engaged in that conversation.
That was the word I was going to say, fully engaged.
Yeah.
You ever watch people, it's like, they're like looking over here and they're just looking down. What's your thoughts when you see somebody, it's not a judgment, but what's the thought that comes to your mind of somebody who isn't giving you eye contact?
Initially, it kind of tells me that the person might have some confidence issues, not really maybe confident in what they're saying or confident in themselves saying it. They don't believe that they're the right person to be saying that thing.
Yeah.
It also just kind of tells me in a different perspective that if that person is needing like mentorship, like can that person be going through something like it maybe it's not even confidence, maybe it's just something that happened the day before that they need to talk about, and there's just something that's kind of hanging on and not allowing them to like fully express themselves.
Yeah.
So that when somebody's not making like full eye contact or they're kind of slouched over, I'm the general manager of the Rec Lanes and the Grange Coffee Shop, so I noticed that in staff, even like talking to customers, like, oh, hey, is everything okay? Like everything's kind of cool. And they're like, what do you mean? And I was, well, you're kind of slouchy. Your body language is telling me you're maybe bored or you're kind of.
You actually say that.
Yeah.
I love that because you're not judging them. You're just, to me, you're showing compassion by the way you said that. You could say, hey, straighten up, sit up, look straight, like a parent would to a child, but you're not doing that. You're, hey, is everything okay?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Well, it can cause a customer. You've done sales and with Guild Mortgage. But I think that when you're doing any kind of interaction, like sale interaction, even if you're a cash register person, your body language and how you're talking about what you're doing or how your day is going, it's the worst when you get a customer service person and you get to them and you're like, hey, how's your day going? And they're like, another day, another dollar. And it's like, okay.
Another day, another dollar. We've all said that one. I know I have another.
I'm here.
I think I laugh about that, but that's interesting.
I showed up today. And it's like,
I'm here. Why? What's up?
Okay, cool. Yeah. And that's it. That's the pinnacle of your day or your work.
Back to the eye contact thing. I'll give you an example. My wife and I were out. Let's say we're going to buy a car, or we're interacting with another guy. It could be a friend of mine. I don't know. But for me, I enjoy talking with people who actually give me eye contact and my wife. So we're having a group conversation. Mm-hmm. Oftentimes a guy won't actually look at a female in the eyes, and it's like they don't exist or something. And I don't know what that's about. Honestly, I'm like, that's just interesting to me.
I think,
and my wife and I talk a lot about that. Like, did you notice that the guy didn't even acknowledge me? Mm-hmm. Could be a female too, but I think it's typically guys, and that's just interesting.
I think it's maybe just a little bit of like an ongoing like stereotype that's kind of been not really like, I wouldn't say like learned, but it's just kind of like an old time. The husband carries the wallet, the wife is the home provider, kind of like a nuclear family type idea. So maybe there's this like embedded unknown that like, oh, if I talk to the husband, that's the guy who's going to like sign the deal away. Right. Yeah. For me, when I worked, some of the small sales experience, but when I was working for Planet Fitness, and we'd have couples come in, there's like this weird communication rule that I try to follow is like 5 seconds, 5 seconds.
5 seconds.
If I'm talking too long to one person, then that sale is directed to that person instead of like, hey, I want you both to be here, right? It's just having a conversation with somebody, and then, hey, what are your goals and what are your needs for a gym, and what kind of amenities are you looking for? Because sounds like you're looking for these, and like, so you're constantly keeping the conversation going in a sale.
I call that professional too. It's respectful and professional. What would you call it when you don't? Let's say you talk to the guy, but you didn't talk to the lady, or you talked to the lady and you didn't talk to the guy. What would that represent?
One, insecurity. It could be a huge thing. Like maybe you have a weird thing with talking to older women or older men. So you're whichever one you're more familiar with, you're gravitating towards that person or that like likeness. Yeah. But for the customer, it's really disrespectful, I think.
Disrespectful is the word I was actually looking for, because I think it's hugely disrespectful, in my opinion. As a guy, the Bible says, husbands, love your wives, and we're going to get into that, by the way. You're not off the hook. Yeah. Husbands, love your wives. Women, respect your husbands. But I think really for guys, we want respect. We actually might value respect more than love. Which is interesting. See, women need love. It's an interesting little verse as you pray about and think about as you think about the idea of getting married. So that's why we do this ongoing accountability and fellowship and iron sharpens iron, because
absolutely,
I don't know all things. You don't know all things, but over time, man, we're going to keep learning and growing. So
and there'll be a couple of gong moments throughout life. You're like, oh, I feel like I know that. But somebody just reaffirmed it, said it out loud, and now I have to, I learned that a long time ago, so I believe it, so now I have to practice it.
Yeah. It's respect for me, though. If somebody disrespects my wife, you've just, done the same thing to me, really. So you're a young guy, you got that. You literally get that. A lot of guys don't. Young, old. It could be the whole generational thing, whatever, or insecurity, or fear, or something weird else, going on. I don't know.
I meet with a mentor once a week on Thursdays, and one thing I've learned, because I've been meeting with him, Jack. You know Jack.
I know Jack.
So I've been meeting with Jack for about a little over a year and a half, almost 2 years, and something that he's said multiple times is like, you don't know what you don't know, and you can't know what someone doesn't teach you. So if it's a respect thing, and there's so many legs to the word respect. It's eye contact. It's doing something you're asked to do the first time. It's holding the door for somebody. It's pulling a chair out. It's like, hey, can I wait for you while you walk to your car? It just, there's so small, like multiple layers of it. Yeah. But until you're kind of taught or like told about every single leg, some things will come naturally. I think that there's inherently like things that respect pulls out of people in different scenarios, but you don't really know until you're taught it, and you don't know, and you won't know it unless you're taught it.
So what you're saying is, let's say I see you not giving eye contact to a client or to a female or whatever. Hey, Fausto, I noticed something that you weren't giving eye contact to maybe one of the people here. What's going on? Tell me that. And is that the opportunity that we have to teach you? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. And,
so don't just be upset or disappointed, but actually teach.
Yeah. I mean, because one, when you open up the floor for somebody to learn something, you're showing that you're investing in them. And then on the other side of that is if you give the opportunity to train somebody in that, and then they don't practice that, it's one of two things. They don't care, or they can't learn.
Do you believe that people can't learn?
I think that there are habits that when you've learned something, or right or wrong, if, for instance, I've never learned to like pull the chair out for even my fiance. Like I don't. And Jack has said, do you pull the chair out for your fiance when you guys go out to dinner? I'm like, well, no, I don't. That's not something I've learned or practiced. And he's like, well, I just told you about it, so now you have to practice it. And I mean, to this day, I've probably done it a handful of times.
But you said you can't learn that.
So when I say something like you can't learn it, it's a matter of unlearning the first habit and then trying to learn the second habit. So you can't learn something that you have learned already to not do.
Interesting.
So like the like crossing your arms theory, you're like naturally you cross your arms. You'd have to unlearn left over right. I'd have to unlearn this before I could learn what's uncomfortable to me.
Interesting.
Yeah.
If I gave you $1 million, could you learn it?
Oh yeah. I mean, there's
so then that's always my
ticket
argument.
Price. Yeah.
There's always my argument is like people say I can't do something.
Right.
I grew up with a mom who said, can't wasn't part of my vocabulary because she's like, can't never did nothing. So even to this day, I teach my kids, hey, can't's not really part of our, and I bet you Jack has a word that can't is a part of his vocabulary either.
Yeah.
And so under mentorship,
yeah.
Again, I don't disagree with what you're saying. If you believe that, then that's true. Mm-hmm. But is it true?
Right. It's if there's a price, like you said, if there's a price tag, if there's $1 million to change a habit, it's really, will you or won't you?
Okay, so then that's the question. Then it's not whether you can or can't. It's will you or won't you?
Right.
Would you agree on that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you and I agree that. Because I don't think I'm not going to unlearn some of my habits, but I am creating new habits.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Which means I'm going to be focused on the new habit and not focus on the old. I can't just, let me unlearn a habit, whatever that habit may be, but I can create a new habit that then overshadows this old bad habit that maybe I just don't think about anymore.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
So will or won't. I like that. It's not whether you can or can't, it's whether you will or you won't. And I like that. I like, hey, will you go to the gym every day or won't you? It's your choice. It's not, well, I can't. Well, hold on. You actually can, will you or won't you? Yeah. So those are some good words. Yeah. Those are some good words that we get to work on, man. So, and I know Jack's a big believer in can't is not part of his vocabulary.
Right.
It's simply, so that's why we say, well, if I give you $1 million, can you? Well, magically you can.
Right. It's more of a will, won't. Yeah.
It's more like, now I'm motivated to.
Yes.
I will go do that because I want $1 million.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
I use it all the time with people like, hey, can you, in sales, can you make 10 calls a day? I really can't because I says, hey, let me ask you a question. If I give you $1 million tomorrow, can you do it today? Well, yeah, I can now. Oh, so you can.
So there's a motivation.
I don't know. You tell me. Is it a will or a won't? Or it's the language we're using. Oh, I can't.
I like that.
And so, again, it's your language. How do you want to use your language? Can't's not a part of my vocabulary. It cannot be a part of my vocabulary.
Yeah.
Because I can't do that. That just can never be.
No,
I
like
think my
that.
mom
I
for
like
that.
that a lot.
I really thank my mom for that. That was her language. Can't, never did, nothing. So, well, bro, that's why we're here. You know, we do want to grow. We're not guys that don't want to grow. We want to grow.
Absolutely.
And you and I are always working on how we actually speak. You know, God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth. Oftentimes we speak more than we actually listen.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
And there's a book called, it's a professional, or his name is, I'll think of his name, and but the whole premise is this guy was a performance coach for the Alabama football team. Mm-hmm. And the question was, how do you take an elite performer like an Alabama football player and make him even better? Well, it's not necessarily positive thinking or negative thinking. It's neutral thinking. If you've had a great play, back to neutral. If you've had a really bad play, back to neutral. But if you ever have a bad thought, don't speak it.
Yeah.
Because both ears are listening. So it's okay to have a bad thought. You're going to have a bad thought. Just careful of your language. You ever talk to people that are like, you know, it's just like this broken record of just negativity, and they're just spewing out negativity. I can't do this because of that. And it's just riddled with excuses.
Yeah, that's the sob story mentality. It's like everything from yesterday I had to do XYZ chores, or yesterday I couldn't play games because I had to mow the lawn, or I couldn't get to my meal prep because I had to wash the dog, or take the dog for a walk. And it's like, well, those are kind of like it sounds like it's a priority thing. You can make time for anything as long as you're willing. And there we go. If you're willing to do it, then all of a sudden that like huge whatever, that the wall, that hurdle that you're putting up, that sob story that you keep telling yourself, you kind of stop doing that, because you have to. If you don't stop with that, if you stop the negative talk, then you won't ever escape that state of mind. Yeah. And then that's a horrible place to be.
I would say the majority of people I talk to have. Well, here's a question for you. Here's the $1 million question, because I know your past, and like I told the audience, if you haven't heard your past, you need to go back and listen to it. We might talk a little bit about your past.
Sure.
But we all have a past, and there's a lot of negativity in our past. There's lots of good stuff. God has brought me this far. My brain remembers the bad things I've done, right? Mm-hmm. And so how do you not allow yourself to go back and create your identity from the Fausto of yesterday, or when you're a kid, through all the bad stuff? And how does someone, not allow their identity to be shaped by their past? Because remember, most people have a negative past. We all remember all the negative things that we shouldn't have done or did do, and whatever it may be. You went to jail. Yeah. Right? Yeah. I've been to jail. I understand that. I did a very bad thing. And going to jail is not good.
No.
I could go, well, that story when I was 17 years old, I got a DUI. And I always tell my daughters, like, hey, if you don't want to go to jail, don't do what I did. Like, I don't hide stuff from my daughters. Yeah. Like, I want them to learn from my experience. Like, hey, don't do this. And so, but I had a past, and I could let that define me. You could let your past define you. How do you not let that define you? And how does other people stop living in the past? Because that's depression.
Yeah. So actually, we just went through this in our Bible study. We had a really cool conversation about the story of Saul to Paul. And this was really impactful, because when you have a testimony, when you have something that's happened to you where God intervened and completely redirects you, he just fixes. I wouldn't even say it redirects you. He just puts you right back onto the same. I guess that definitionally, that's the same thing. But when you are living a certain lifestyle and you're falling into negative situations, negative talk, negative mental state, and God comes in, redirects you, puts you on the right path, just not even redirecting, just like up and here. Like it's like building with Lincoln logs. It's up and here. There's no movement from here to here. It's up and over. What happens in that testimony has to be believed, trusted, and invested into. So the story of Saul to Paul. Saul, he went out, he was like the top dude to go out and find Christians and like bring them and ultimately kill them. Like he was out there looking for people who believed in God or this Christ, Messiah, and kill them. That was his whole thing. And then he becomes blinded. His life has to change, and he gets a new name. He's called Paul all of a sudden. And what you see happen, and this is where, so like, yeah, I was 20 years old. I went to jail, and I could have easily just decided that I'm gonna, jail ruined my future. I was 20 years old. Well, then I still got 60, 70 years to live. So am I just going to be miserable because of, it's the, does 10 seconds determine your whole day? One bad customer service thing determine your whole day. So with Saul and Paul, you have this horrible life thing that he's doing, right? He's blinded, intervention, given a name, testimony, done. And you never see him ever dip back into that old lifestyle.
Crazy, huh?
Never. You imagine like he's the number one guy to go out, find Christians and crucify them, kill them, bring them to justice, quote unquote. Then he becomes Paul, and in the very next chapter of the story, those same people who sent him out to find Christians to like persecute, they're like, let's go find him and kill him. And it's like, wait a second. Did you forget that Paul was Saul? You're going to go after a guy you sent to go find Christians to persecute. And like, this was like the baddest dude, right? Because he's like, when he was Saul, he was a bad dude, not great, but he was the best at doing this killing thing. Now he's Paul, and he's a believer in God, and he's been given this new life and a whole new journey to live. And now everybody seems to have forgotten that he was Saul. And like, you know what? We're going to go after him. It's like, you're going to meet the same physical body. You're going to meet the same physical abilities. And yet, because he believes in God now, you think he's weaker. You forgot that he had some kind of past. And that's kind of what when you see a testimony happen is you kind of, sure. Like I can remember bad things I've done, high school, young adult. I mean, that's easy to remember, but you never dip into that. Just because it's there doesn't mean you have to. Oh, well, I remember, partying till 2 a.m, 3 a.m. Like I'm 34 now. Just because I've done it doesn't mean I have to ever dip that. I know what that was, and I don't ever have to experience that again. Right. And so that's like, for me, the hardest part, I think, of letting go of the past is fully accepting your testimony. And if you believe in the testimony that God reached in, pulled you out of something and changed your life, that you have to believe that. It's extremely, because we do have horrible things that have traumas and sads and mads and whys and confusions of old lifestyles that like bring that up. But if you truly believe in the testimony of God in your life and the transformation that happens in you, then the faith and hope in that testimony should counteract anything in your past.
Hallelujah.
So like the joy in which, for me, because when I went to jail, I think this is probably the coolest thing for me is I read a book called The Harbinger. Yeah. And it's a story about a guy who's writing paper, and he wants to get his book published and newspapers published. And he's met with a prophetic situation where somebody like starts leading him on this seems trivial journey of finding these little clay marbles with like signs inscribed in them. And at the end of the story, I won't spoil the meat of the book is the good part. Like if you ever want to read a book, The Harbinger, I recommend it.
Okay.
But the end of the book, he's met with this challenge of, why do you write your books signed this name when your real name and your birth name is this? Because this name is his name, I forget now. I'm going to butcher it, but read the book. You'll get it. But at the end of the book, he's called out because he's going by a different name, and his original name is like a Hebrew name that means writer of the script. And like, but it's like the script of the Bible, right?
Yeah,
like that, like prophetically.
Yeah.
And so he's like challenged at the end of this book with like, who am I? And what does God say I am? And for me to read that in jail, I was like 20, it's like in between 20 and 21, but I was like 20 years old, lived a certain lifetime, went through foster care, had a lot of reasons to be mad about my life and where I ended up.
Yeah.
But I read this book and instantly I was like remembering everything positive. Like my biological mom sent me to church. My foster care family sent me to church. My adopted mom sent me to church. Like religion and God were always there.
Yeah.
I was focusing on the negative, like, oh, I'm in foster care. I never grew up without a dad, which is unfortunate. Some people do that, and then that sucks. But like, I was so focused on the negative that I couldn't see the positive. And at the end of this book, reading is like, okay, well, who has God called you to be? And what does that actually look like? And are you doing that? Are you living out your purpose? Right. And so in jail, I was just like, oh man, I got to get out of here. I have some apologies to make. And really it was like apologizing to the people who invested in me and saw things in me. Like my adopted mom, I remember like getting out of jail and I was like, I'm sorry. Not that like, yes, because I went to jail. Like that's embarrassing, but I'm so sorry that I did this to you when I know you believed in me more than I believed in myself. And that really like had to change. I'd start to believe in who I was meant to be. So yeah,
I sense a lot of humility in your life, Fausto. Your life hasn't been perfect, nor is mine.
Yeah,
you have a lot of reason to be angry and frustrated, and the woe is me attitude.
Sure,
and yet you don't. I mean, that to me is. I'm impressed with God that He's working in your life and you're allowing Him to. I'm impressed with you because of what God's doing in your life, right? We're not impressed with each other because we're two guys that are sinners saved by grace. But I'm impressed that you're humble enough to recognize your need for God.
Yeah.
You're a new creation in Christ. And you don't live out the old life.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And how do you feel about that?
I mean, there's a little bit of like, a little bit of pride in it. Like I'm proud of myself for being able to not go back and do dumb things. You know, you break off certain friendships and you reach out and say, hey, I hope you're doing well. But like you're not really interacting with those people. But when I see it in my everyday life, it just brings me joy to do it. You have this access of prayer to God, right? And I just find myself praying of like joy, right? Like just thankfulness and just overwhelming understanding that I can do even more. And it's like adding pressure, relaxing, and then adding a little bit more pressure and relaxing. And so understanding that God has like fully transformed my life in the last, probably like 14 years of transformation from then to now. Just understanding that my feeling would be just this little bit of pride there of like, man, I'm proud of myself for like really doing this thing and believing in it, not just like doing it because like, oh man, I don't want to go back to jail, because you can fix yourself with fright. Yeah. But there's a whole lot of anxiety that comes with that, and that's not a healthy way to live. But when it's really positive and like thankfulness and humbleness, really that's what I hope is. Humility, man. I hope that it is always like I'm proud of myself, but like humble enough to know that it wasn't just me making all the right choices and making all the right. I would say it wasn't you at all. Buttons. I was operating the vehicle, but with the certain instructions.
Let me ask you this here question, because you said getting rid of certain friends. Like there's people in our life, if we're Christians, we're out sharing the gospel and we're loving on people, right? That's what we're called to do and make disciples. Mm-hmm. But there's that inner group of friends where the birds of the feather flock together. Mm-hmm. Show me your friends and I'll show you your future, your 5 closest friends. How does one deal with I've hung around people before that I'm easily influenced, by the way. Hey, try this. Okay. Do this. All right. Yeah. Right. I don't care if it's working out, eating the right food, or dumb things I did in high school and college, like try this. Right. How do you, as a solid Christian believer, decide to move on from somebody? You can still love them and pray for them, but hanging around with that person can't happen. How do you do that? And when
Yeah, I mean, you got to give everybody a shot. I think everybody deserves an initial 10 minutes, 20 minutes. You got to give them some of your life. You got to give them. You got to at least make that first attempt to sit down with somebody, and whether you're having dinner, whether you're at the gym, whether whatever that is, because you can have somebody who is a raging alcoholic and somebody who's living a very healthy life, and they both might like to go to the gym. But it's the conversations that you're having during that time. It's what are you going to do after this thing? Do you want to hang out? And what does hanging out look like? For me, I have a discipline now where I get up at 6 a.m., I go to the gym, I go home and eat, shower, get ready for work, go to work, do my job, get off work, find time to read, find time to do my chores, make sure that my life is staying in some kind of order, and then trying to get to bed by a decent time, and if I find that hanging out with somebody or giving my time to somebody that interrupts that, once in a while is okay. I have friends and we hey, let's go to Buffalo Wild Wings or something. And we'll go and we'll be out till 11 o'clock and we'll just be eating and laughing and just having conversation. Yeah. But then there's friends that I've had who are hey, let's go from here to this bar. And then from this bar to that bar. And from that bar, and then I'm like, wait, are you telling me you didn't get home till 3 a.m? And you have to work at 7? How's
that working?
To me, I'm just whoa, that because of my discipline, because of my pattern, that it does not compute. I'm just how are you alive? How are you functioning? And so for me, I definitely always try to make sure that I give somebody a shot. Absolutely. To just hang out, do dinner, do a hang. If somebody can't me and my best friend, Eric, we get coffee every so often now. And I think I mentioned this, or maybe I didn't, but I have a best friend, Eric. And for a while I was that was my best friend, Eric. And I tell everybody about him. And I realized that we don't actually hang out often. And he has kids and so lives are different. But then we started making the effort to hang out and get coffee. And I realized that just through this interaction, that if I can't sit down with somebody and just have a cup of coffee and be all right, man, well, hey, thanks for hanging out. I appreciate it. I'll catch you later. If it turns into something where well, what are you doing from here to here? And then from here to here. And from here, what's the next thing? And I'm not chasing the next thing, right? The next activity. Right. No, I'm actually I'm cool with having a burger and fries and a Coke and then all right, man, well, see you later. Thanks for hanging out. Then going back into my pattern.
And back to your pattern.
Back to my pattern.
Right here, yeah. I like my pattern too. I'm addicted to my rhythm and I like that, dude. I think, honestly, I might get some of the discipline from you. You're more disciplined than me, by the way. I know you are. And my wife holds me accountable to, I like patterns, but I also like the coffees and the hanging out, and that can be disruptive to my pattern. And so the more I do become disciplined, the more I realize I don't necessarily like it as much as I thought I once did. Does that make sense? So, yeah. To your point, man. Yeah.
And I think that takes just some practice, and everybody's got a different pattern. You know, I know I'm very work oriented. Yeah. So whatever my career at the time is, I usually build my pattern around that thing. When I used to work for Planet Fitness, it was very, there were like 2 days a week that I worked from like 6 a.m. to like 3 p.m. And there were some days I worked from like noon to 8. And I would just like shuffle, like almost like having little like think about like having dice with like time periods on them. So like workout, eating, shower, work. And I would just shift those dies around depending on the day, just to make sure I always got those 5 things in: sleep, eat, gym, work, reading, or gaming, or chores. And just shift those 5 things around in my 13 hours awake a day, you know?
Yeah. I want to go back a little bit. I want to pick up where we left off last time. I don't think, were you in a relationship last time we were talking? And then where's that relationship gone?
I don't think I was in a relationship last time we met.
It must have been a couple years ago.
At least 2 years ago, because
It's at least 2 years ago.
I have been in a relationship with my fiance now. Yeah. We got engaged.
What's her name?
This last June. Marla. Yeah, she's great.
You got engaged like just a few months ago?
Yeah, June. I think it's probably in my phone. I put like make important days I put on my calendar now.
Of course,
so,
yeah.
I think it was like June 8th. It was really rainy. It was a super rainy day in Depot Bay that I proposed. But
let's talk about that. I want to hear about the proposal. What'd you do?
Oh man, you can imagine every like 90s teenage rom-com movie. I'm like planning with her best friend, like, okay, we're gonna meet in Depot Bay, and we're gonna meet at this spot for this proposal. And I mean, the whole week before, me and her best friend like had it planned out. And we had backup plans. So like this spot if it's rainy, this spot if there's too many people, this spot if it's really sunny out, you know. So it was funny the day of, because I had her best friend tell her that she was too busy to hang out because we were going to go whale watching in Depot Bay. That was like the original plan, was Depot Bay for whale watching. Excuse me. And so we get out there, and I was like, oh man, it's too bad that like Brooke and Kevin couldn't come. That's her best friend and her best friend's fiance.
No way.
And so I was like, man, it sure sucks that they couldn't come out here with us. It was such a nice day, you know?
Yeah. She's like bummed.
Yeah. So we get out there, we're sitting on one of the benches, and we've got binoculars, and we're looking at the water. Nothing's going on. And so I excuse myself. I'm like, I'm going to go use the restroom real quick, and walk into like the whale watching lighthouse thing that they have there. I go to the bathroom. I don't go to the bathroom. I go text Brooke. All right, the weather's nice. Look like we're going to use like spot B of our ABC plan.
Yeah.
And she's like, all right, sounds good. And she's actually in Depot Bay with her fiance. And so we're doing this like shuffle.
Crazy.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it was great. It was fun on like my end to like do this like behind the curtains secrety like proposal thing. Yeah. And so then we went to we went to lunch. And
just you and Marla.
Just me and Marla, yep.
Okay.
And then same thing. I'm like, it started sprinkling outside. I was like, I gotta use the restroom real quick. I gotta go to the bathroom. Yeah. Pull a Batman real quick, sneak away, do something, and come back. And it's like, it looks like it's starting to sprinkle. I think we're gonna use spot A from. We're at lunch right now. We're gonna go to the shops next. And it's like, okay, so we're at the shops. Give us 10 minutes. We'll go get lunch. We'll switch places with you. So we're then at the shops. We're going through. It starts to get sunny. And it's kind of towards the end of the day. It was like 2 p.m. or so. And we're like, you got to drive home. It's like an hour and 15, 20 minutes from the coast. And she lives in Portland, so she has to drive an extra hour. So I was like, okay, well, it looks like it's kind of like, well, maybe we should go over here to this spot to see if we can get one last look and see if we can see any whales.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, okay. And so we're driving over. And it was kind of perfect because and this is just one of those, I think this is just one of those ways that God works. And like in your moment, if you want it to be perfect and you believe it to be perfect, then it'll just become perfect.
Yeah.
So there was like 10 cars in the parking lot, and we're rolling up, and everybody's, it's this like pier-ish point. I forget the name of it. It's really great. Right as you're getting into Depot Bay, it's on the right-hand side. It's pull off. It's like this peninsula.
Okay.
And so we're parking, and as we're parking, I'm like, it looks like it's going to rain a little bit. Like, grab your jacket. And I text Brooke. I'm like, all right, we're here. You know, plan's going down in 10 minutes. You know, we're doing a whole thing. So we're getting out of the car, and I'm like looking around in my head. I'm like, oh man, there's so many people. People are going to be in the pictures. Like, so we start up. We don't even get to like the peninsula, like the peak. We start over by a fence, and we start walking. And as we start walking, people start leaving. People just start taking off. Like, oh, they're looking up. Oh, it's starting to rain. And so people like get in their cars and stuff and taking off. And eventually it's literally just me and Marla on this peninsula.
What?
Yeah. And and the best part is it just starts pouring. It's just like dumping, just rain. We are like soaked, and Brooke and Kevin are like, luckily it's pouring because it's got this like kind of like a gray, you can't really see too far. It's like raining that hard.
Right.
And Kevin's got this super nice camera. I'm so lucky that he like brought it with him. And I'm like, dude, his camera's gonna get wet. I feel so bad. But from like they parked to like we're over here in the peninsula, he's just like shooting camera, just shoot pictures all the way as they're walking up. And I hand her I pull out the ring. I was like, hey, can you, I think I dropped something. Can you hold this for me real quick? And I hand her the box to the ring, and I get down and I ask her, and then it's pouring. And then Kevin and Brooke are now like maybe 10 feet away. And she's like, is that Kevin and Brooke? And I was like, yeah, like, you know, they came all the way out here to like see this. And she's like, I thought she was busy. I was like, I told her she was good. So I told her to tell you that she was going to be busy. Don't worry. I got this thing planned out. Like it was just fun for me to do that for her. And then we went out to dinner. I got them. They drove from Vancouver, Washington just to do this with us. And I was like, can I buy you guys dinner? Like, thank you for being a part of this. And it was great. It was amazing. I mean, this was like, it sounds crazy. But like I dated Marla for like 3 months. And after 3 months, I knew, I knew, you know, cause I obviously like, I don't go into detail with people about like my whole past. And like, I went to jail and I was this kind of bad person or anything, but like, I knew because after our third date, I sat down with her and we had a conversation about like, hey, you know, this is my past. And like, I just want to be upfront with you because like, you know, if it's brought up by a friend as a joke or somebody brings it up as like, oh, hey, remember when we were younger and this happened? Like, it's so crazy how far you've come. And like, that's a nice thing to say, but like you're bringing up something that maybe somebody doesn't know. Yeah. So I just wanted her to know and not be like blindsided by something.
Brother, man, that's awesome.
Yeah. And I mean, this was like date 3 and she was so understanding. She was like, well, that's like, she said, that's your BC life before Christ. And I was just like, man, thanks for saying that.
So go back. I mean, I got the picture in my mind. You hey, I dropped something. You hand her the ring,
the box to the ring.
To the ring. Yeah. You get down and
I propose.
Well, so who opened the?
No, I gave her the box.
You gave her
I had the ring
box.
in my hand.
Okay, I was missing that.
Yeah.
And so then you propose.
Yeah.
And then what'd she say?
She said, yeah.
Of course.
She said, yeah, absolutely.
But so your friends, Kevin and what was her? Brooke?
Brooke, yeah.
So they're walking up. Now they're there and they get to witness. They're actually physically there.
Yeah.
What a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Is Marla like going, what the heck is going on here?
Yeah. She was, you know, I think there's this like idea that the girls and would be like crying and, oh my gosh, this is so crazy. Like she was more just like astounded that I was able to put this plan together, I think.
Well, you guys are dripping wet. It's been raining.
Soaked.
You're soaked to the bone.
Yeah.
And yet, that's funny, dude.
Yeah.
That's your story, man.
Yeah.
That's a great story.
Yeah.
Dude, this is fun, man. What does what's marriage mean to you? As you anticipate, you know, you got engaged, as you anticipate marriage, what's that mean to you? Let me preface.
Yeah.
You came from I'll call it a broken home.
Yeah.
And when I say broken, you didn't have a dad in your picture.
Yeah.
Right? There's a lot of fathers out there, but there's not a lot of dads. Mm-hmm. Right? Anybody can father a child, but are you a dad?
Yeah.
How's that going to define you, the way you grew up, and how are you going to change that? Well, you know, exactly what happened to you, your dad leaving, and how are you going to be different?
You know, I want to say that I want to be just step 1 is just be there, just be present, be involved, and then continue to learn and grow on that. Because I mean, yeah, I think for me or guys in my situation, there's this like mindset where you're like, I'm like, it's almost like a madness that comes along where you're like, I'm going to be nothing like my dad. I'm going to stick around. I'm going to be there. And it's like, yeah, there's definitely that, like, but there's not like an anger there.
Right.
For me, it's like,
careful.
I want to be there because I want to be there. Like I'm excited about the, I tell Marla, I'm like, who do you think who's driving who to the hospital first? You know, like, am I going to fall down the stairs? I'm like, twist my ankle? Or are you going to like cut your finger on a knife? Or like, who's driving who to the hospital first? You know, I'm excited for this, like, and for me, that's marriage is I'm just excited for the what's next and like all of the weird things that are going to happen in life. Who's going to take care of who first getting sick? Right. Who's going to forget to buy butter the most? Who's going to forget to pull the chicken out of the freezer and defrost it the morning, you know? I'm just excited for like the little things, you know? And I think that being excited for the little things allows some room for like, excitement and fear to exist. Like, being a dad, like me and Marla have talked about that. I'm super excited to be a parent and like be a dad. And like, I have this idea of like what I think is going to happen, but I'm excited and I'm like a little bit fearful of like, okay, cool. Like we're going to like, yes, we want to have kids and we're going to, you know, God willing, we're going to have at least one kid. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And like, then there's this little fear of like, oh, but what if they like break their arm? And I'm like, how am I going to handle that? Like my kid with the broken arm, you know, I'm like, flop around. Like, am I going to panic? Like, so there's like this excitement of like that life, that like being a dad. Yeah. So I think that there's definitely, like I said, the two ways of looking at it. Like I'm going to be nothing like my dad. And it's like, well, I hope you're not.
But you also have his blood flowing through you. So, you know, my girls always tease me like, or I tease them like, hey, Dad, I don't want to be like you this way because they think I'm a dork. I always say the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. Yeah. And so that's the funny thing about this. Okay, so you guys got engaged. Is there a wedding date? Yeah. We it's going to be June 13th, 2026. So you got June of 2025 engaged. June of 2026 married. Yeah. Why wait, right?
Yeah, well, some people are like, wow, that's kind of a long time to wait. And I'm like, well, I've never done this before and she's never done this before. So like, we want time to plan the wedding out, you know, I don't think it's anybody else's opinion or decision. Right. What you guys choose. It's up to you. You guys decide. But then we were talking about it the other day because we're like going through the checklist, you know, like caterer, DJ, photographer, venue. Yeah. And we're like, oh yeah, when we started this whole like planning, it's like, okay, we have a year. And now it's like, oh, we have like 8 months.
You better, time is ticking.
Yeah. Like, was a year long enough to plan?
Maybe not. So, okay, where's the wedding going to be?
It's going to be here in Oregon. Okay. A lot of her family is kind of spread out. Like she has some family in Georgia, some family on the East Coast, like Carolinas area, and then California. Yeah. But all of my family and all of our friends are in Oregon. So we're going to do something between Portland and Oregon, because they can, if people need to fly in, they can fly into Portland and then Oregon City.
Okay, somewhere I get you. That makes sense. Yeah. Okay, dude, I'm excited for you, man. You know, the words that you'll say is, you know, for rich or poor, sickness, health, till death do us part. Right? And marriage is fun, exciting. It's difficult. Why is it difficult? Because you're a guy and she's a girl, right? Yeah. And you know, I hope and pray that you'll have great mentor, that you'll continue on the mentorship through life, because we all need it. Yeah, absolutely. we never not need it. Right?
Yeah. And then that's just the Saul to Paul story. Saul to Paul. You have to always choose Paul. Yeah. You have to constantly choose the Paul lifestyle. You have to constantly choose the BC, the after Christ, right? Yeah, Christ intervenes, and then you have this new lifestyle, and it's just like working out muscles. You can kind of do it on a regular basis and not see any growth, right? You can just kind of be, and this is not to say anything bad. If you're a 3-day in the gym person, that's totally fine. Having some consistency is good. Yeah. But when you are like a 5 to 6 day in the gym with your diet included, getting your restoration, like your essential amino acids, your multivitamins, your fish oils, all that. When you're doing the restorative part too, then you start to see real growth. And that's just like, that's the after Christ part, is like, okay, how am I growing? Mentorship, right? Challenging myself in ways of like, okay, I have read more books in the last 2 years than I've read in probably even like school included. Yeah. Right. So there's just the Paul story for me is like, God intervened. I have this wonderful life. And how do I honor God with that? I have to grow. Yeah. And that's mentorship. That's finding people who will hold me accountable, tell me the truth, right? Whether that's in celebration or like, hey, Fausto, you weren't really making eye contact with that person when you were talking to them. Like, is something up, or do you have a problem with them? Right. Or, you know, and
I'm gonna be better about that. Like, hey, are you okay? Well, what do you mean?
Yeah, exactly.
I just noticed, because sometimes I think we can be irritated because they're not respecting us. Right. And so then we go, what is, but really compassion and empathy needs to play out. So I think you're really good at that. And all this sounds great, but when you're in the moment of being married and maybe things aren't going well, the flush shows up, right? And that's why I see, a lot of 50% of marriages end in divorce. How do you not be a statistic? I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying I know the answer. I don't. Yeah. I mean, Christ has to be the center of your life every day and every moment, period. With me, so the verse I've memorized recently is Jesus said in John 15:5, I am the vine, you're the branches. He who abides in me and I in him bears much fruit. And apart from me, you can do nothing. Yeah. Right? Yeah. That's what I need to be about.
Yeah. That's
Jesus.
It's reassuring and it's scary at the same time, because amazing that we have full access to this creator God who knows us by name, who knows the end of our story, knew us when he constructed us in the womb and knew us. At the same time, that the humanity of that is like, whoa, I'm solo. I'm kind of weak and I make bad decisions and I'm not the best at making decisions, but the power of the beauty of that is just that with God, I can do anything and I get to choose God. And so that for me, that's Psalm 46:10, be still and know that I am God. Like, yeah, that's right. I'm not in control of the world. I'm not even in control of the red lights and green lights that I'm going to get when I drive. Yeah. If I can just turn all of that faith and like mental anxieties, just shrink that all down, because we serve the creator God of the world, of the galaxies. One thing I learned a long time ago, which is really silly, is like I learned how to find the Big Dipper. Okay. And for whatever reason, whenever it's nighttime, if there's no clouds, I don't know if it's just like a habit now, but I will look up and find the Big Dipper every night. As long as the stars are out, I'll find it. And I'm just like, how crazy that like people have found these astrological, like this is Orion's belt and this is the Big Dipper and this is that and this is that. Like, and God put them there perfectly in those patterns.
It's amazing, man. Yeah. To your point with Paul, we're talking a lot about Paul, and I like Paul. Paul said, I'm the chief among sinners. And I say, well, Paul hadn't met me yet. But Paul, he was Saul and became Paul. He credited himself as the chief among sinners. But then he also says, follow me as I follow Christ. So Paul is a great example, but he's always pointing to Jesus. Yes. He's always pointing to Christ. So when you say, hey, I want to be like Paul, what you're saying is, I want to be like Christ, because Paul said, follow me as I follow him. Right. I think that's great, dude. We all have a Saul story, right? Yeah. I was once a Saul. I'm a new creation. God transferred me from darkness into light, like that. I'm a new creation. I'm his. The verse I like too is, I think it's in 1 Peter chapter 5. It said, God opposes the proud, but he gives grace to the humble. So if God Almighty opposes you, how well is that going to go for you? Not. I'm just going to ask you a question, But if God, if he sees humility in your life, like I'm not all that, then he's going to give you grace, his grace. I want some of that. Yeah. It sounds like that's the kind of guy you want to be.
Yeah. I mean, what's the opposite of that?
It's not good.
Not good. And it's not. And that's everything for me in my own life, referring back to Psalm 46:10 is like, whether it's a bad interaction with a person, whether I get every red light, it's comforting, and it's like a breath of, like, it's just like a deep breath. It just resets me to just Psalms 46, just be still and know that I'm God, and nothing else matters after that for me. I think my heaviest squat right now, like at the gym, is like 325 pounds squat. But that actually doesn't matter. Like, this body is great. It's strong. I'm fast. I'm smart. I'm healthy. But it is all because I follow a certain pattern, and the majority of that pattern is giving thanks to God.
And is it true that your body's also decaying?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this body's going to die one day. We're temples of the Holy Spirit to steward our body, our money, our families, our time, talent, and treasures. Hey, we're gonna wrap up here in just a moment, but you did I call it the keynote speech.
Yeah.
It was really good, dude. It was one of the best I've ever seen. And I say great job.
Thank you.
Here's some of those takeaways. This is like 2 months ago.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Here's some of I wrote down the little one-liners that you wrote here. The first one here says, make the effort. And then the one you kept saying a lot was let go of the leash. We're going to come back to that in a moment because I want you to unpack that a little bit. And then you said, make a difference for that one. Always be looking. I see you. Mentoring never ends. The questions of life just change. So talk to me about the let go of the leash, man. You unpacked that. Like, you started at the very beginning. I don't know if you know this. It was a beginning, it was a middle, and it ended with letting go of the leash. Let's end on, what does that mean when you say let go of the leash?
Yeah. When I'm saying letting go of the leash, it's really a matter of like really accepting the change that can happen in your life. When you are holding on to past broken hearts, failed experiments, failed business, failed family life, you're holding on to these things. You can't move forward holding on to something that tethers you to an old lifestyle or an old acquaintance or a failure or a bad self-image. If you're holding on to a leash, you're holding on to something that is back here. And I mean, to move forward, you have to, it's just like running a race. Why are you looking back? The goal's in front of you. You're going there. Quit looking back here. Right? So trust me, I've tried looking backwards on a treadmill and it's not good.
It's not a good thing.
It's not a good thing. And there's a couple of really good videos of me at Planet Fitness looking back on a treadmill and on the ground all of a sudden, right? And that's what letting go of the leash means, is your goals, whether you know it or not yet, your goals are in front of you. Your life is in front of you. If you keep looking back, if you keep carrying your luggage, right? When you get to the airport, you check your bag and it's gone. How much harder is it to get through the airport with a luggage bag, your backpack, and your fanny pack? And then they say, okay, take off your shoes and give me your ID. And then you got to put all of your stuff on the carousel. It's like, well, you could have just left it and walked through. And that's what letting go of the leash for me really means, is like, if I'm going to progress in my life, if I'm going to choose mentorship and growth and healthy life patterns and the relationship that I have now and getting married in 8 months, if I'm going to choose those goals in front of me, I gotta let go of Fausto, who went to jail. I have to let go of Fausto, who, had multiple failed relationships. I have to let go of Fausto, who jumped and I was like 16, 17 years old. I had like 6 jobs. Like, I have to let go of that. I have to let go of like the idea that I failed at starting a business when I was younger. I have to let go of that, because if I hold on to any of that, any one of these things that I see in my future, that I want in my future, I'm going to be tethered back here,
that can't
mentally,
happen, can
emotionally. No. This, it won't happen. It won't happen if you can't let go. And that is a little bit of, it's a lot of actually forgiveness, forgiving yourself, forgiving the people who you don't, it might not even told them that they hurt your feelings, right? You got to start forgiving, and you got to start accepting that your future is dependent on how much you're going to give to God, how much faith and reliance you're going to give to God. And then how much are you going to just believe in yourself? Like really believe in yourself. You're going to say like, will I or won't I? Will I get up at 5:30 when my alarm goes off so I can get to the gym by 5:45? Or will I hit the snooze button, get to the gym at 6 o'clock and lose that 15 minutes of security? And now I'm rushing through my workout and I don't feel like I got a good workout. And then the rest of my day, I'm stuck on, did I get a good workout? I can't have a good day if I'm focused on my 6 a.m. workout that I did to myself. So there's a lot of forgiveness that has to happen back here to get up here.
It almost sounds like people live in the past because there's unforgiveness. That's what keeps them tethered to the past. Is that, I mean, I've never heard it actually said that way. I've never really, because I just say people live in the past, we focus on negative. But what I heard you say, I wonder how much truth there is to that. Like, there's this unforgiveness there. I'm not going to let go of that because let's say you made me mad 12 years ago. I'm still mad at Fausto.
I'm never going to talk to them again.
I'm still angry at Fausto. God is not letting you move forward because you haven't did the thing. He asked you to, hey, forgive how many times? Not just 7 times, but 7 times 77 or infinite.
Yeah.
I have to forgive Fausto, or Fausto's got to forgive Buddy or your dad or whatever situation.
And it doesn't have to be this like beat yourself up thing of forgiveness. Like, well, I'm going to write down everything bad I've ever done and I'm going to go through the list. It's like, no, now you're just self-harming. You're just doing bad things to yourself at that point.
Self-harm, yeah.
You just got to say, hey, I was young. I didn't know any better. And if I did, I was not the same person I am today with the cognitive ability to say, I don't want to do those things. I don't want to be the person. I don't want to be the bad guy in somebody else's story. And right now, like for some people right now, they are their own bad guy.
Yeah.
And that sucks, man.
Well, we've heard that you are your own worst enemy.
Yeah. Your own worst critic. Yeah.
Man, there's so much truth to that.
And it starts with saying, hey, like, one, they say time heals all things. So let time do its job.
And does time, because time doesn't have to do anything. Time just ticks on. But if you don't forgive, does time heal all wounds? Yes or no?
I would say yes, in the sense of memory. So something from 10 years ago, you could remember doing it, but the effects of that will start to kind of go away because you're not thinking about it as constantly. You almost forget that.
I mean, I don't disagree with you. I've heard stories where people were mad at each other until they died. And when you ask the question, what did they do 50 years ago? I don't remember, but I'm still mad. I don't know, man. I mean, you might have there's definitely some truth to that. I believe time can heal wounds. I think our memory, like, I don't remember what you did last week, Fausto. I'm no longer mad at you, but you did something, but I was mad. And no, I'm not.
Yeah.
That might be true, but I think for a lot of people, if there's really some serious hurt, they're going to hang on to it till they die. And I don't know. Did time heal their wound?
Yeah, I think for me, it was really sitting down when I was 21 with a mentor, somebody who gave me the space to talk about that. And it's a two-way street. They asked me the difficult questions, and I had to really unpack it with them. They had to, that I was just talking. I realized now that I was just talking, and Tim, my mentor, he would just be like, "Oh yeah, and why did that hurt?" And then I'd start talking about why it hurt. Like, oh, and where's that person now in your life? Oh, they're not really in my life. So why are you still holding on to that? And I'm like, oh, I don't need to be holding on to that. actually, because they're not actively in my life. And what Tim says is like, a grudge is like drinking poison and thinking the other person's going to get the effects. and
that's interesting.
And so it's like, yeah, you just get a mentor to sit down with you and just start unpacking it.
Yeah.
Because things, it's the 10-second thing. If you get a red light or somebody cuts you off, is that going to ruin your whole day? Are you gonna have somebody cut you off in traffic at 10 a.m. and then at 6 p.m. that night when you're out with dinner with your friends, you're gonna be snarky to the waiter or waitress who comes along, and because somebody else did something to you, and this new person has nothing to do with that interaction?
Wow, it's heavy.
So
the quote I just wrote down: "Don't drink the poison of unforgiveness."
Yeah,
that's what that is. Brother, we got to wrap up.
Yeah, no worry. Yeah, thank you for having me.
This is really deep. This is really deep. You gave me a lot of things to think about, honestly.
Cool.
And I think our audience will really appreciate what you had to say too.
Yeah.
Well, hey, we want to wrap up here. Thank you so much for being here this week. If you do struggle with unforgiveness or you want to talk with somebody, I bet you can reach out to a guy like Fausto or me, and we would love to have a conversation with you. Look, we're not perfect guys. We're the chief of sinners, as Paul said. Paul hadn't met us yet, but I'd say I too am a chief of sinners. I know what goes on in this brain, and but I'm aware of it, and I confess it, and God forgives me, thankfully. And I don't have to harbor any unforgiveness. I mean, I really pray about that. Lord, is there anything that's I'm not forgiving in my past? So that's really our prayer for you, is that you go through and do some inventory on your life and see if there's any unforgiveness in your life. It is poison. It will kill you. It will destroy you. And, read your Bible. Humility is the willingness to keep learning and growing, knowing that you haven't arrived. I haven't arrived. Fausto hasn't arrived. And so anyway, man, if you just reach out, we love that. Give some comments, some posts, post some thoughts, a Bible verse, anything that will encourage somebody to do something different. So anyway, wrapping up with Fausto. Fausto, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me again.
Man, great to have you. You're a wise young man. And what I recognize, you didn't come from a perfect past. You didn't grow up in went to church every Sunday and just never did it. You did all the stuff like me.
Yeah.
And yet here you are.
Yeah, I went to church every Sunday.
Oh, you did?
And I still got in trouble.
You still did. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for being here. We appreciate you.
Yeah.
We'll see you next week. Thank you.
Thank you.